Art can be found in every little thing. Art can be found when you look a little too close at the tree trunks in the forest, when you gaze into the cracks and find an entirely different world. Art can be found in the sky, when the clouds float by over your head, when you can point and go, "Look, it's a squirrel." Art can be found in even the worst of people, people whom you might know, or whom you've only seen once before on the street. The way they smile softly, or that sparkle in their eye. Art can be found in GirlsGoGames. If you were ever a small child somewhere in the 2010s, you probably don't need an introduction to this website, so I'll keep this short. GirlsGoGames is a website that hosts games aimed at preteen girls. Alright, moving on. There really isn't that much to know about GirlsGoGames that hasn't already been discussed. It's notorious for hosting games that are a bit odd for little girls to be playing. For example, there are several games teaching kids how to make a woman on the verge of giving birth look pretty, which is a bit iffy and morally dubious, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about one of the many games you can play on this site. This video is about a game called Dotted Girl Ruined Wedding. It should be noted that this game doesn't originally come from GirlsGoGames. It comes from one of its sister sites, CC Games, though I wasn't able to find the game on that specific site. There isn't any credit given to the creator of this game. I'll be referring to them as Thomas Truck, until the original maker reaches out to me to tell me otherwise. Before we start the game, there's a necessary first step to make, checking the description, which clearly states that someone has broken into main character Dotted Girl's wedding venue. This is an important bit of information, because this is merely implied in the game itself. Onto the game itself. Firstly, we are greeted with an intro screen. Dotted Girl, who vaguely resembles the leading character from hit series Lou and the Bally Bunch, is shown crying in her wedding dress. This is odd, but we will discuss this later in the video. When clicking the play button, we are brought in to, well, play. Dotted Girl, oddly enough not wearing any dots, is crying once more, this time in casual wear. She sobs that it was the wedding of her dreams, and that it's all ruined now. When we click again, we are brought into our first minigame of 3, where we are asked to please fix Dotted Girl's wedding by fixing up the ruined tables and windows. After that, we are told to save the wedding cake, in which nothing of note happens. At least, that's the way it seems. And after that, we are given the task to pick out the dream dress for Dotted Girl. Once we've done that, Dotted Girl exclaims "Yay," spelled as Y-E-Y, and that she's finally getting married. A happy ending. At least, that's what Thomas Truck wants you to think. In reality, this is a tragic tale of betrayal, of hardship, and of a bride-to-be's unfortunate demise. So settle down, grab a cup of hot chocolate, and hold on tight for the true story of Dotted Girl Ruined Wedding. Firstly, we have to talk about the intro screen, for this is a major piece of foreshadowing for what the alleged wedding is going to look like. Eagle-eyed viewers might take notice of the fact that Dotted Girl is wearing a wedding dress, which she is not wearing in the rest of the game, up until the minigame in which you pick her dress. Yet she is still crying as if upset. This implies that something happens at the wedding, post-game. But what? Let's take a look at what Dotted Girl is wearing in the game itself. Clothes that are entirely blue. Obviously, this is a hint to what she's feeling, and obviously, this feeling is sadness, which is often portrayed by the color blue. A different meaning of blue, however, which is less commonly known, is trust. Something you might notice about her clothes is that her shorts look torn and her top is cropped. Something has happened that has ruined her trust. Moving on to the first minigame, we're immediately greeted by clashing colors and red tulips all over the ground. Red tulips have a clear meaning. deep and perfect love. What's noteworthy is that these flowers remain on the ground up until the last step. Even the window gets fixed before the tulips are put in their vases. This creates this almost Renaissance-esque imagery, where the red tulips are dramatically on the ground whilst everything else is pretty and perfect. Herein lies the obvious. Dotted Girl's deep love, or her love with her lover, whomever they may be, has been ruined, while everything else is beautiful. Let's discuss the colors of this image. The blue of the chairs, as we have discussed before, represents truth, but also melancholy. The fact that some of them are turned over, yet some of them are stood upright, implies that the main character is uncertain on what to feel. This is further confirmed by the rest of the colors, which, as stated before, clash with just about everything. The yellow of the curtains and parts of the chair can stand for caution, deception, and possible danger, which goes well with the rest of the picture painted by the game. Someone is deceiving Dotted Girl, perhaps someone she knows very, very well. The red of the lamps and the flowers, which obviously stand for danger as well, but also for anger, romance, and passion, implies this mysterious wrecker is someone Dotted Girl is romantically intimate with. Perhaps the very same spouse she's supposed to get married to that very day. And with the green, which symbolizes safety, we have completed the full traffic light trio, which symbolizes Dotted Girl's uncertain fate. I believe this implies that there is a metaphorical, or perhaps literal, rope around Dotted Girl's neck, which could end her life any minute. Could it be that her very own lover is the one who put it there? I say yes, and clear evidence is shown in the next minigame. The wedding cake is apparently completely ruined, and by that I mean it's actually just kind of messy. However, this alleged cake basher has added one key detail to the cake. The groom is positioned standing, while the bride, which is a stand-in for Dotted Girl, is lying down as if fallen, nearly rolling off the cliff. It should be noted that the bride is still facing the groom, while the groom is facing away, almost like not looking frees him of the guilt he may or may not feel. He's also shown holding his left arm, or rather his left hand, which has been broken off, and it looks as if he himself is the perpetrator. The left hand has various negative connotations, depending on the religion and culture. In Christianity, the left hand can symbolize the rejection of Christ. In Islam, the left hand is traditionally seen as preserved for tasks that are unclean, which disposing of someone's own wife is. In Judaism, the left hand has less spiritual significance than the right one, which is used for blessings and prayers. This could mean that the groom is trying to absolve himself of his guilt for what he's done, or what he's about to do, unaware that this guilt has become part of him, and removing that part would mean destroying himself in the process. I wasn't able to determine what exact flowers are lying beneath the cake, but white does generally stand for purity and innocence. The fact that the flowers have been destroyed could mean that the Dotted Girl's innocence has been ruined. The red of the strawberries, which stick out compared to the rest of the cake, resembles blood on a wedding dress, which could mean that Dotted Girl will kick the bucket at her very own wedding. In the next minigame, we have to pick out Dotted Girl's wedding dress. This is truly nothing special. It has the same color symbolism as we've discussed earlier, with yellow and orange flowers symbolizing danger sticking out. One thing that should be noted though, is that parts of some of the dress options are blue, which she has been wearing for most of the game. This is odd because her signature color in most other games in the Dotted Girl franchise is red. This implies a level of calmness or knowledge. This could possibly mean that she is aware of what her husband-to-be will do, and that she's content with it somehow. Once we're finished with this, Dotted Girl's sprite has slightly changed. Instead of holding tissues, she is now holding flowers. Red gerberas and blue daisies. Gerberas stand for purity and innocence, and daisies mean the same. She's clinging on to this after all we've done for her. Perhaps she's gotten hope for this marriage now that everything's been fixed. So we know what is about to happen. Dotted Girl is about to be slaughtered by her fiancé, and there's nothing we can do about it, for Dotted Girl has already made peace with this idea. That just leaves two questions. Who are we, the player, and who left all these hints by destroying the venue? This is shown in the last possible frame when you click through all the minigames. You are recommended another game. Mermaid Sauna Flirting. It's weird that this game is recommended rather than another Dotted Girl game, which there exists a plethora of, and would make more sense given what the game itself is about. I believe that the two people who are kissing on the front page, whom I will call Mermaid and Human, are both the perpetrators and the helpers. My idea is that these two are friends of the couple, at least until either Human or Mermaid found out about what the groom was planning. So the two devised a plan to ruin the wedding and leave hints for Dotted Girl for her to find out what her groom was planning, without him finding out that they informed her of this. The flowers she's holding in the end and the possible blue coloring of her dress are a message to Mermaid and Human. She's choosing to keep her image of being innocent, even though she's aware of what's about to happen, and she's choosing to let the wedding go on. She chooses her own demise, for reasons that are unknown to us, though perhaps seen in the other Dotted Girl games, which show a tough life of pregnancy while still being in high school, having to endure multiple traumatic surgeries, and having to raise multiple children herself, possibly because her lover refused to step up. And that's the tragic end of Dotted Girl Ruined Wedding. What do you think, viewer? Is there a possibility of a happy end yet? Leave your answers in the comments below. Like, subscribe, 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 etc, 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 etc. That was the video. Farewell, goodbye, and toodaloo.